if someone would to end it now and with a bullet through my brain, I would be fairly happy with everything I've achieved. Hey,
Hey, how's it going, Tobias?
I'm good, thanks.
It's good to see you again. We spoke, I want to say 6 years ago now. We were actually outside of the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, and
Hmm. Oh yeah.
I remember you mentioning that you wanted to play there because I think Metallica recorded some Damage Justice stuff there.
Exactly. There was a Metallica, it's like a TV special from 1989. Sort of just like this program. I think it's just like this is what a rock band on tour does. And it was yeah from Cops Coliseum.
I was just thinking it was really cool that, you kind of achieved that, I guess, personal milestone, and then in the 6 years that we've not spoken. Essentially, you've played Madison Square Garden. Obviously, Ghost has just continued to explode, which is incredible. And that's sort of where I wanted to start the basis of this conversation.
Post
Because
explosion.
exactly, post explosion. Here we are now with Skeletour. It's the biggest tour, the biggest show to date. You're selling out arenas worldwide. I'm curious how your ambitions for the band have evolved over that time. What are you thinking now?
I mean, if you want to dream big, I think that the biggest thing you can still do is go outdoors. There's a big difference between playing an outdoor show and playing full production stadium, you know Rolling Stones, Steel Wheels, that sort of tour. Ever since the Steel Wheels tour, that has always been my you know dream of achieving that sort of traffic diverting, um, big scale outdoor um, possession of the night. If that never happens, I'm if someone would to end it now and with a bullet through my brain, I would be fairly happy with everything I've achieved, and I think that we're in a good place right now with the production. This is where the Skeletor, what it ended up being in terms of production value, is very near conceptually what I've had in my mind for quite a long time with respect to how I wanted the show to sort of evolve through different stages or acts, if you will, and being in a way, I guess, slightly more resembling a pop show. I went to see Lady Gaga recently, and we're not doing the same thing, but I could definitely tell from a production point of view that what we're doing is more closely related to that than many other rock bands.
And you've implemented the Yonder pouches so that people basically they don't have access to their phones for the duration of the gig, which I think makes for just an incredibly immersive atmosphere. But I know there's some people that might be skeptical about it, especially those who have never tried it before. So I'm wondering if you had any hesitations about implementing that at first, and also how you found the reception to be since then.
So I had that in the back of my head. And of course, when we released the tour and the tickets came out on sale, we knew beforehand that there was going to be, um, a shatter. Let's put it that way. There were gonna be discussions, pushback, mixed emotions about it, and I believe still now 50 plus shows in that we did the exact right thing because people that have showed up, with a few exceptions, have been overwhelmingly positive. I absolutely believe that it was the right call. But some of the things that we had to um, completely um, shun away from on this tour was festivals. The production that we're doing is big and it's heavy. It's hard to maneuver. So there were places on the planet that we simply couldn't get to. Um, and to me, it was very important that uh, with these restrictions, that is the yonder world where people get to actually enjoy the show and get to experience something cool. It's important that we bring the entire thing. If we can't do the whole thing, we can't mask it as the Skeletour. As of right now, I only know that we're doing this tour, and after that, it's a big, big, big question mark. At some point, I need to get to terms with if what I've said about the Skeletour and the John pouches and the restriction or the refraining from using your phones, because I think that that is the best thing that has ever happened. Like the shows are so enjoyable for everybody, and I love being on stage when I can actually connect with the crowd. So I don't want to ever go back. But as I said, then I have to value in which forums we're playing in the future.
I want to talk a little bit about Papa V Perpetua.
Mm.
You've had, I suppose, the better half of a year now in the shoes of this new persona. So I want to know, how has it been performing with that half mask situation? It must be quite freeing.
Over the years of wearing various silicone masks on my face, I've always or always, but often felt as if I were I don't know, a professional athlete, but maybe being asked to do something semi-professionally athletic, wearing flip-flops. Here, run 100 meters on time in flip-flops. Here, play football or ice hockey in flip-flops. It's like uh, I am not like a great singer who can play or sing in any band. Like, but I know I'm definitely a better singer than Mask allowed me to be. In order to be able to sing, you have to make faces. You have to work with your neck and throat, and you have to do movements that I couldn't do in the Mask. And you know, mentally was a little bit of a shift. You know, big step for me, small leap for mankind, but just to be able to um, go out and not be myself, but not necessarily like a rubber face.
You cover so many topics on this album, like loss, faith, self-deceit, love, hate, pretty much emotions that we all inevitably will go through. The album overall feels very introspective, and I'm curious if that was something that you had planned to cover for a very long time, or if it was in the process of creating the album that maybe something happened or something sort of inspired that.
I had it in the back of my head somewhere on the sort of planning stage that at some point it would be interesting to make a record with basic lyrical elements. Even though I mean, if I want to be very dissecting of previous material, I think that we, you know, it's not like I've made a record with personal lyrics and all the others were subjectively somehow completely made up. The other records also had emotional elements of it, and but overall, you know, from being about structural demise to extension and sort of more biblical external threats, I found it inspiring to make a record that had more to do with trauma, trauma. No, but yeah, um, closer to the bone, everyday treats that you know you're more than likely to be subjected to throughout the course of your life, and several times maybe even. But I've always said, even especially from you know our second record and onwards, and especially going forward, there's a certain degree of occultism and darkness in there, but that has to do more with the fact that that is a part of who I am. But Ghost lyrically has always been about coping with life and understanding the world. Very little to do with, absolutely nothing to do with God. That is like the one of the most important elements of it all, like lyrically, that it has nothing to do with your or mine or his or hers or theirs or whatever God. It has to do with the idea of what mankind is trying to others with in the name of God. And that has been a misconception that has disturbed me a little, and so therefore it felt like an almost important task to sort of write a record that was, yeah, different and even more so clearly introspective.
There's a lot of lore, I guess, as people say, behind Ghost. I'm wondering, was that always a plan for you to develop that, or is it like the fans' love for it that has shaped how deep that it's gone over the years?
Obviously, the fans have always been like a huge contributing factor, not necessarily to the storyline,
Mhm.
but conducting, if you will, the urgency for a narrative or a continuation of something. Originally, there was an idea that I had that we weren't going to do any interviews, which obviously was sort of flagged early on by our little indie label who didn't want to do much promotion, but they definitely said that, well, you have to do some interviews. When we shifted from this indie label, Rise Above, um, to an American major, there was this. It was pointed out that the void of not being able to tell a story needed to be filled with something. Social media obviously was hot, and in order to keep up with all the other bands, we needed to have something to put out. And I said that, well, I'm not gonna tweet. So how about this? I make this story up. I had the outlines of something that could be fun and in a way would tell. As I said, like lyrically, Ghost is about being alive, of being a person, being a little person in the big world, and there's a way to explain that, and that can come in the form of these people with their warts and all, with a strange family background, as many of us do have, and with secrets and uncertainties. And luckily, we found a fun way to do that, where we could wrap, commercial message inside the confines of a funny story that sort of continued. And then that sort of just expanded into, a story that I've also grown fond of of expanding and understanding, and hence the comic that we gave out with the graphic novel. That is going to be also, that's the first four issues. That's going to be another four issues of that, where you go even deeper into the story. Obviously at points it's so meta that it becomes almost it's weird for me too. The where are the lines between what Ghost is and what the story is.
I know you are short on time right now. I just want to, you give me a one word answer if you want, but I just wanted to ask, after every album, since the second album at least, it seems you've released an EP. I'm wondering if we could expect another one in the future, or if you at least have an idea of what's coming for Ghost.
In one word?
Sure.
No. Uh, as of right now, there is no EP coming besides the tour that we're doing now. We have nothing else planned. So the future is right now very open. Creatively, I have a lot to do. I'm actually recording currently, but it's not a cover CP and it's not a new Ghost record. So I actually do not know exactly what and when anything will happen. And that's a good thing, because, for 15 years now, we've been going at it you know, nonstop, where cycles have been basically just sort of just been stitched together. You know, every time we've ended an album cycle, I've walked off stage knowing that Monday morning I will be in the studio, and our next show is there. So it has been that sort of cyclical, nonstop thinking ahead, thinking forward, expand, 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 for a long time, and I've come to a point where I'm just like, um, I still have ideas, I still have dreams, I still have things that I think we have not achieved. Definitely, the wish list is still there, but that's going to be at some other point.
Hopefully, we'll cross paths again in Toronto and we'll speak less than 6 years from now. But thanks so much,
Yeah.
man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for looking forward to playing Toronto again.